Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to do a recap / talk about some things for the future with Naoya Inoue and Stephen Fulton. Really quick, if you like the videos, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button because it really does help and it really does support the channel. And to all of you who have recently subscribed to the channel, I'd like to say thank you and welcome. Let's jump into this. Very early on in the fight, it was clear that this so-called power that, Stephen Fulton didn't truly believe in or buy into, or maybe didn't get the email, he learned that it was real. And he fought very fidgety from round one. He was very timid in there. And, from round one, I was like, this is not good. This is not going to go well, because he's very, very timid right now. He's herking and jerking with everything. Now, sometimes you'll see two really skilled guys and they'll stand in front of each other and you'll just see a whole lot of this, halfway feints. That's just trying to figure the other guy out, not trying to be a stationary target while you're trying to figure the other guy out. And you're trying to get his timing down. You're trying to, just kind of trying to read his body language, basically. Inoue does it as well, but that's because Inoue doesn't have a whole lot of head movement. So that's why he does it. Stephen Fulton was doing it for a whole nother reason. That was, I don't want to get jabbed like that again. That was for a whole nother reason. And like I said, he realized, okay, this power that, people have been talking about is real. All right, now it's real. Now how are you gonna deal with it? Personally, whatever the game plan was, and I didn't like the game plan because he was standing in front of Inoue. Now, he did try to circle off a few times. However, Inoue would cut him off. And let me just sidebar into Inoue's footwork. Amazing. Amazing. His footwork was top-notch. Stephen Fulton would try to go this way. Inoue would cut him off. Stephen Fulton tried to go that way. Inoue would cut him off. He was throwing shots from different angles. No, you're going to stay right here. I need you right here. And he kept him right there. And honestly, I'd say by round 4 or 5, mission completed. He made it so Stephen Fulton would feel very uncomfortable if he were to try to veer off. And it just didn't go well for the man. I mean, I personally, I didn't like the distance. And I said this in my fight breakdown for Stephen Fulton. I didn't feel like a bit of a gap was gonna do him justice. I didn't. I felt like the best way for Stephen Fulton to fight Inoue was to get in close, make it a rough, tough fight because you're the bigger guy, and he throws a lot of combinations, and he's really slippery on the inside. On the outside, you're dealing with a guy who's actually who's smaller and faster. You're not going to be as slippery on the outside as you're going to be on the inside. And worst case, best case scenario, you can always muscle him around because you're naturally the bigger guy. And I was saying early in the week, or I think over the weekend actually, that Stephen Fulton he was healthy. He was eating he claimed he was eating 3 meals. So he was healthy, but he still, even though he weighed in, he still looked very thick. So I'm like, you know what? He could muscle this guy around. He could if the distance weren't what it was. Inoue fought very smart. Inoue fought at a comfortable distance for himself. And I mean, Inoue was hitting with everything. He was hitting them with combinations. That overhand couldn't miss. That thing was money. That straight jab to the body, that was money. I mean, every time Inoue was spot on, and it was right in the center of the midsection, spot on. I mean, everything he threw, and here's the thing about Inoue. He doesn't waste punches. He's not one of these machine gun punchers who, Santa Cruz or, Manny Pacquiao. He's not a machine gun puncher that's just going to throw 30 punches in a sequence, and out of 30 punches, maybe 7, or 9 are going to land. No, he's not that guy. He's very calm. He's very calculated. And this is how you can tell a sign that somebody's really skilled. When they can be very busy and very patient at the same time. Inoue understands the science behind working in the ring and not overexerting in the ring and still keeping your opponent busy in the ring. Like, he's good at that. He's really, really good at that. And he showed it the entire fight. I mean, Stephen Fulton, and it was weird because Stephen Fulton, there were points in the fight where I'm like, all right, are you hurt? Are you tired? Like, why aren't you throwing more punches? The way you deal with a power puncher is you throw more punches on depending on who the power puncher is, but you're going to throw more punches. Use a jab. You got to use your jab. Stephen Fulton wasn't throwing that jab. You got to listen, you're fighting a guy who's really fast. You're fighting a guy who's really consistent with his punch output. You got to use the jab. In all honesty, you have no other choice. That's going to be I'm not saying he was going to find success overall in the fight if he did it, but I am going to say he would have had a better showing in the fight had he done it. That's what I'm saying. And it would have created a lot of things for him. And anyway, he wouldn't have been able to get off all that he got off on him. Because anyway, was a counter puncher and he was an offensive. He was doing everything. And he was picking his spots to do, all right, I'm going to lead the dance. Now I'm going to let you lead the dance. Now I'm going to lead the dance. I'm going to let you lead the dance. And he was picking his spots. But there weren't many, and I want to sit here and say that, Stephen Fulton had moments. No, he didn't. So some people have moments in a fight. Stephen Fulton had punches in a fight. That means you never had a concise moment in a fight. You have 3 minutes in a round. Or maybe you had 2 solid minutes in that round. No, he had punches in a round where there's 3 minutes in a round, and out of that punch sequence, one of those punches were a good punch. Overall, in my personal opinion, this was a complete and total shutout blowout. Shutout and blowout. Shut out and blow out. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even competitive. It wasn't competitive. Use your jab. You're going to have to get in through the jab, unfortunately, but use the jab and then, listen, tie him up, do something. But when this guy's throwing, 4-punch, 5-punch combinations on you, you got to do something to stop that. Tie him up. I don't care if people boo. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do, even if it's listen, they already hate you anyway. You're in enemy territory. Give them a reason. Give them a reason to hate you. How about that? I don't know. But there was just no chance for him because then he stuck with that. And then mid fight, Stephen Fulton decides to be I'm going to be heavy on this front foot. Why in the world are you heavy on the front foot? But he wasn't committing to going inside. He was just heavy on the front foot. So it's just so you want to be a stationary target at this point. I didn't really hear what they were saying in the corner, but it just wasn't good advice. The game plan wasn't good, and quite frankly, if you want to see a true sign that somebody is a great in the ring, they can adjust. And Stephen Fulton didn't adjust. By round 3, he should have been doing something completely different than what he was doing around 1 and 2. Completely different. That crap wasn't working. And he sticks to it. Then by 5, he's like, you know what, I'm going to be heavy on the front foot. And I'm going to stand my ground. Then and I also mentioned this when I was talking about Stephen Fulton. I said another thing about Stephen Fulton is he has a mean streak. And sure enough, if you see in the fight, he starts talking in the ring and he's like, yeah, come on. And he's going, and I'm like, dude, chill out. You're doing way too much. And if I were in the corner, my main thing would be slow down, calm down, collect your thoughts. That's not getting you where you think you want to go. That's only going to get him in a better place to do more damage to you. What's going on right now, you need to block that out and you need to focus. Screw the game plan, because the game plan sucked out the gate. But it was just bad. It was just bad on his end. I think it was bad coaching. I think it was bad that Stephen Fulton decided at some point, I'm going to try to counterpunch a little bit. No, number one, you're way behind. the scorecard. Number two, this dude is lighting you up. Forget trying to counterpunch with a much faster guy. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Like, don't do that at all. And the only thing that I can give him is, at times, Stephen Fulton would try to walk anyway down. The only problem with that is if you're going to walk somebody down, throw a punch at them. Or what's the purpose of walking them down? And then I know Inoue caught hold of that. Well, like, yeah, he's walking me down, but he's not doing anything. He's just walking with me. So totally fine. And then Inoue then he started firing off on him again. Like, it's just, I don't know. Stephen Fulton, that was a very bad plan from your team. But I said this. I said, do not make him angry. I said that in my last video. I said, now it's personal. Made him angry. You accused him for the last time. Listen, you're accusing him anyway of you're not taking a drug test and, you faked an injury and all this stuff. That's one thing because he was on the other side of the world. Now you two are standing in front of each other and you went to this man's country and you insulted him again with the hand wraps. And like I said, it's a respectful culture. So you're not going to see it in him, but you're going to see it on the night of. That's exactly what I said, and that's exactly what we got. In terms of Inoue, honestly, everything he did was perfect. Everything he did was perfect. I mean, he was a little... the only critique that I would give Inoue, because honestly, I would give him an A- for that fight, maybe a 95 in scoring. But the only critique would just simply be that once he knew that he had Stephen Fulton's number, he was doing more bombs, and wasn't that he wasn't setting up, but the distance again between the two of them was really far apart, and a few times he overstepped. Other than that, anyways, the man, he is the king. Like, you can say whatever you want. This dude is the king. He's rocking and rolling. And a lot of, listen, I'm going to say something, and I know it's going to tick a lot of people off, but I'm going to say it because, at least on Fighting Words, I tell the truth. There was a point in time in history where, as a black man, I'm saying this, black athletes were just physically superior in a lot of sports and dominated a lot of sports. Well, the reality is, and this is the truth, and, like I said, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for it, but I'm going to tell the truth. That gap has closed. The gap has closed. And, if you just start looking at, different sports mediums, the gap has closed. There was a point in time when boxing was primarily black, Hispanic, mainly Mexican. The days are over. We got these Eastern Europeans coming in here, these guys from Russia, Ukraine, they've been boxing all their lives. They got these, to us, strange training methods and everything like that. Well, guess what? Japan is definitely here to stay. Japan is definitely here to stay. Japan is going nowhere. And guess what? The invasion's only going to get bigger. We got Australians coming in now. It's only going to get bigger. I'm sorry. It's only going to get bigger. And I want people to know this. I'm the guy who said that Tyson Fury was going to get up when he fought Deontay Wilder for the first time. I had been watching Tyson Fury long before he fought, anybody notable. And I knew, the only thing I knew about this guy was he was big and he was very agile, but he was durable. He was extremely durable. And I remember when I first started my channel, it wasn't called Fighting Words. It was actually called Antonio's Fight Chat. But everybody, criticized me. You don't know what you're talking about. And Deontay Wilder's going to this, and Deontay Wilder's going to that. And then they fought, and guess what happened? Tyson Fury got back up to his feet. The days of black fighters, especially black American fighters, I'm only going to limit it to black American fighters, just utterly dominating the sport is over. It's over. Now you're going to have to work hard. Now you're going to have to work hard. It's not just, well, I'm talented. That's great, but you still better be at the gym when we open up. I'm talented. That's great, but you still better be running every single morning. I'm talented. You better be the last one out the gym. I'm talented. All right, but you did you spar this week? Like, there's no more untalented. No, hard work beats talent. I'm sorry. There was a point in time when, yeah, the gap was wide. That gap is no longer wide. That gap is no longer present. All right? Now it's not about, well, I'm just a talented, once in a lifetime type of guy, and like, I'm so athletically built, and I'm just naturally built with these. I got these natural big muscles, and no. Now we are talking about skill. We are in an era with skill, and with the emergence, not the emergence or anything like of other countries, because these, countries like Japan, they've been boxing forever, since forever. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like they've ever gotten their just deserve. And maybe I'm saying this because I'm a little guy, and like I'm a welterweight, and it's nice to see smaller guys rise up and get the attention they deserve. If you want to see true skill, you don't want to look at heavyweights. You want to look at the bantamweights. You want to look at anything. Well, not anything. I probably say that under cruiserweight, you're just gonna see skill. I'm sorry. The smaller you go in weight, the lower you go in weight, you're gonna see more skill. What we saw from Inoue was skill. It was precision. And like, everybody wants to talk about power. That's great. He is blessed and gifted with power. But aside from that, he has tremendous skill. He has tremendous instinct. He has tremendous timing. He has tremendous knowledge of the ring and foot placement. Footwork is not easy. Footwork is something you have to work on. Some people just naturally have it. A Muhammad Ali or a Prince Nassim Hamed or a Roy Jones, a Floyd Mayweather. There are people who just naturally have footwork. Kudos to you. But the vast majority of people have to work on their footwork. They have to work on their footwork. That is something that doesn't come natural, people. If somebody punches you and you punch them back, that's natural. Okay, but footwork, just being slick like that? No, that is not natural. Inoue knew where his feet were placed at all times. If you go back and look at the fight and just watch the footwork on its own, it was beautiful. It was masterful. Inoue is like, they keep making the comparison between Inoue and Manny Pacquiao. I'm sorry, Manny Pacquiao is nothing compared to Inoue in terms of skill. Manny Pacquiao at times was extremely reckless. Manny Pacquiao at times would flat out completely abandon defense. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm sorry, Manny Pacquiao, there's a lot of flaws that Manny Pacquiao had. In comparison to Inoue, like, he was so spot on. He was on fire. That Inoue listen, that guy on that night, fighting the way he fought, is not losing to anybody anytime soon. Period. And like I said, I know what I said is going to ruffle some feathers, but I think we have to be honest. The days of I'm just this and I'm naturally that and I'm naturally that. No, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to work hard. Period. Because there's somebody out there on the other side of the world who's working hard. And he naturally has power, but he's working hard. Day in and day out, he's busting his butt in the gym, and it's paying off. So those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think. Drop your thoughts down below. As always, you know me. I want to hear what you have to say. I especially want to hear what you have to say after saying that. But please like, please share, please subscribe to the channel.